Hello, this is Rich with WorkshopAddict.com, and this is Sketchup tutorial number 10. I figured we'd take this time to talk about the program preference panel, which controls how the program operates. It's got some different functionality, things that you can change depending on your drawing style, and also some hardware preferences. I decided to save this until now to give you an opportunity to learn how to use the program and be able to navigate it around in it. A lot of this stuff will make more sense at this point. You will find the preference panel up under Window, Preferences. The first thing that you will see, the top item, is Applications, and that will set a default image editor. All you need to do is click Choose, browse to whatever your default image editor is going to be, whether you use Photoshop. I use Adobe Fireworks for my default editor. I could use Photoshop, but this is something I'm more familiar with. And you set that in your control panel for your default editor, and I'll kind of show you how that works or where you would use that. If we go up to Materials and turn on our materials, and I have it set to End Model, so these are all the materials that are within my model, and I wanted to edit my glass. I would select that, go to Edit, and you'll see an option over here that says Edit Texture Image in External Editor. Now when I click that, that would bring up my Adobe Fireworks, and I could edit that texture, change coloring, change the size, crop it down so I'd have a repeating texture, different things like that. So that's where you would use that function. We'll go back here to the preference panel. Next thing down is Compatibility Box. The bounding box only is for components. If I would select this component, I have a bounding box around that component. If I would go to Preferences and unselect that, you will see it's selecting all the edges along with just the the bounding box around the outside. I really don't have any need for that at this point, or I really haven't figured out how to take advantage of it. Some of you may have a better idea, and feel free to let me know, but for my drawings I don't use that. Mouse wheel style, you have an option to invert it. If you're using your mouse wheel, by default, as you scroll towards the front, it zooms in, and as you scroll towards the back, it zooms out. You have the option to invert that, which means when you scroll it towards the front, it zooms out, and when you scroll back, it zooms in, which is how Google Earth works. So I assume they've done that to line up with functionalities in Google Earth that you can use within SketchUp. Not something I use, but that just reverses the mouse wheel. Now click style is on auto detect, it'll work either way, but if you do click, drag, and release, I'm going to show you how this works. To draw, I would need to well, let me show you how it works by default. Normally, when you click down, you'd start to draw a line, and when you clicked, it would complete that line. And you notice it went away there? I can click around and it's not drawing that line. Click, drag, and release means you got to hold down on that mouse, and when you get where you want to go, you let off, and it completes that line. I started actually below the surface of that, so that line doesn't show up real well. Let's get on the face here. so you can see it, and we let off and we got a line. So that's one option for your line style. Auto detect is default. Click, move, click is that would be click, move across, and click. Notice it made a line. I would just leave it on auto detect unless you have a specific need. The continue line while drawing will work on either auto detect or click, move, click. And continue line drawing is what I would normally use. And if we shut that off and we come in here with a line and we click and we go to here, that line's done. You have to come back here and click again to draw another line, back and click. If you leave that in the gotta get in the right spot here, default location, continue line while drawing, you can start across here, click, and move down here. Notice how it continues along until you're done, and hit the escape key or space bar to get back to select. So I'm going to do a few undos here, get rid of all those lines that I drew. And crosshairs, that's pretty obvious. You notice we have a set of crosshairs coming off our cursor. I mean, that just tells you whether it's going to be displayed or not. The pre-click on the push-pull tool is kind of nice. Let's say we let's go ahead and make this a group. Say we were going to pull that. We can highlight it to start with, and we can go anywhere, navigate around, and start that push-pull tool from anywhere and pull pull this thing up. Now, if you get into a real busy drawing, that is really important. If you need to navigate around and get somewhere to pull the thing, by disabling it, you can't pre-select that. So we'll go ahead and we're going to get rid of this little thing there. Extensions. These are extensions that I have installed, which is most of them are third-party plugins that allow additional functionality within SketchUp, and you can install extensions, and to do that you would browse to wherever you have the extension. Let's see, SketchUp, plugins. I've got a couple plugins that I've added. There are these RBZ files. You can double click that, hit yes. Do you want to install the extension? Okay. It's telling me there's a new version of that available, and it just added that extension. Files, these are default file locations, and I don't use this too often, but as you can see, by default it's going to my /users /rich /documents, which is my profile settings folder. If I had wanted to keep components or materials or things in a certain spot, I would change those locations, and all that does for you is when you go to look for something, like you go to browse for a new material, that's the first place it looks. It doesn't stop you from finding it somewhere else, or it really doesn't save them in that location. It's just the first place it goes to look, so it can save you some steps. The next item, General tab, is Create Backup and Autosave. Now, I would turn both those on. The Autosave function will create a file in your original drawing directory with an autosave on the front, and you can set how often you want it to do that. Create Backups will make backups of your drawing, and the default extension on SketchUp is SKP, and it will make auto backup files that are SKB instead. They got a B on the end instead of P, and you can actually rename that extension by swiping over the B and changing it to a P and turn it into a regular file, or open the backup file and resave it. It's a good idea. And by the way, a good idea to get into, or habit to get into with SketchUp, is when you're drawing something of decent size. For instance, my as-built drawings I'm doing on my house, it doesn't hurt to go through the process, and it could be something as simple as house 1, and a couple days later, or when you make major changes, save as house 2, and you'll end up with house 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The nice thing is, if you find that you've screwed something up, and I've done this often, the problem with 3D modeling is I can select something, say right here on this trim on this exterior window, and I could be, at the same time, if I drew a box around it, I could be selecting something that's down in the basement and not realize it. It could be behind it, and I could catch that, and then I delete it, and later I come into the drawing and I go down to the basement to look at something, and I've got stuff missing. I've had that happen more times than I care to admit. So the nice thing is, you can say, okay, well, I'll go back a few drawings, and you can grab whatever it was you deleted and just do a simple copy, go back to your new drawing, paste it back in, make sure it's in the right location, and be done with it. Just great idea. Continue to save your drawings with different names as you go. You can go back and grab sections of previous ones if you screwed it up and bring them together. It works well. By the way, I want to mention something else that I should have mentioned in the beginning. I'm trying to think what I have here that would be a good example to show you. I'm trying to think what I have that I've got a lot of small details. Let's go in the radio room here. And I've got several components in here. One of the things that is important when you select stuff, and I didn't even think about it because this works in AutoCAD as well, and I just got used to it. When you drag a box from left to right, anything that falls within the inside of that box is highlighted. It's got to be within that box, and it's got to be completely within that box. As an example, this radio, if I draw here, I can't highlight the radio because I'm not getting all of it. That's a left-right drag. If you drag from right to left, anything that box that you're drawing crosses, it will grab. This is a group. These shelves are all groups, so because they're a group, it will grab all of that. So I mean, if you drag this direction, we're going to get a bunch of stuff here. you really don't realize how. Let's go out to the front of the house here and zoom over. You'll notice when I grab that radio, I grabbed this stone wall, the foam on the outside of the house. So you have to be real careful. So play around with left to right drag and right to left. That's something I left out in the original tutorials just because it come second nature. I was used to using it in AutoCAD and I really didn't even think about it as a function of SketchUp. So back to our preferences. You can tell the SketchUp to automatically check the model for problems. If you've got a little problem, it'll give you an option to fix it. If you check the box below it, automatically fix the problems when they are found. I would leave that unchecked. I would just soon know it, that it was going to fix something, and give it the option to do that. Warn of style changes when changing scenes. We haven't really talked about styles, and I'll go ahead and do that now. Styles is a visual thing, and if we turn on our styles panel, you will see that we have the option. These are styles I have in this model. I normally don't use styles because I open up Layout, the other program that goes along with SketchUp Pro, and do all my style work in there when I'm dimensioning. But you can go in and pick a style and change your drawing to these different styles. It's an artistic thing, and really doesn't help you to draw. Matter of fact, it's about impossible to draw with certain styles. But you can go in and some of these have graph paper with them. And some of them are you'll find watercolors in here. Podium is a third-party add-on that I have, and this basically controls how the sky looks. Not something we can really see in this current viewport, but there's just a lot of different styles and things that you can have. But if we go back to our preferences, you'll see if we click this, it'll tell you when we switch, when we create a scene, if we've changed the style. Automatically check for updates. That's like any other Windows function. Automatically check for updates for the program. The next item is OpenGL, and this is a hardware function. If you have a video card that allows hardware acceleration, you want to use that. If I uncheck this drawing is big enough that I really can't even draw with it. No, I guess you got to restart. SketchUp to show that. I guess there's really no reason to do it, but these are all specific to what your computer is capable of, and it will check it originally and turn on certain things like fast feedback to speed things up if your machine is capable of it. I am getting ready to swap out video cards, trying to speed up some of my render times in the next couple days. So some of this stuff may change, but this is OpenGL for your video card. Controls how fast things run. Is totally dependent on your machine. So you can play around with those, but more than likely whatever SketchUp detects and sets will work for you. Shortcuts these are functions, within SketchUp, and they also include, you'll notice, plugins, 101-bit or 1001-bit. I don't know what it is. It's a free plugin I got. It's got some decent features in it. It adds the functions to the plugins as well. But what's nice is if you do something a lot, and say for instance tools text, if you wanted to create a shortcut and say I wanted that to be Control Shift T, I just type Control Shift T and hit plus and OK, and anytime I hit Control Shift T now, I'm going to get tools text. So those are just shortcuts for various functions. Templates, we talked about this a little bit originally. This really controls what type of drawing you're doing. You can draw in any of them, it really doesn't matter. The thing you need to watch is feet and inches. If you read a little description about the template, it'll tell you whether you want to use it or not. I typically use the design in woodworking in inches. Another nice thing with templates is if I wanted to, I created a drawing that had a certain environment and maybe even a few things drawn into it. I always started out with a certain base and then customized it. I can create my own template. Matter of fact, all you have to do is take a drawing and we're going to say test template. I'm not going to save it as the default, but I'm going to hit save, and this will save that that current drawing out as a template. This is a really big drawing, so probably going to take a while to do. You know, I've got grass and deck and slate flooring, and I'm working on drywall and interior trim and steel railing, and I mean there's a lot of detail in there. But now if we come into our preferences and we go to templates, there I guess I don't think it'll show up here actually. Oh yeah, I guess it did. We can also browse and find all those templates, but anyhow, the template is now there. So if you start out at a certain point all the time, you want to create your own custom template, you can do that. Workspace, use large tool buttons. I have those turned on. I really don't want them any smaller. I'm getting old, and my eyes need the exercise. Reset Workspace would set your toolbars and palettes, you know, the things that open up for layers and materials and scenes back to their default settings. I'm only going to talk about one other thing here, and one of the things you can do, notice that from the previous videos I've moved a toolbar over here to the side, and I've got some tools which I don't have turned on right now up top. I'm in the process of trying to get my workspace laid out a little better, but if you right click over here in this area where blank space is, where your toolbars go, and go to toolbars, it'll show you all the available toolbars that you can turn on. I mean, we can turn on layer tools, things like that. But one of the things you might consider doing is create a new toolbar, John Doe. You can call it whatever you want, you know, your personal name, and you'll end up with a little tiny beginning of a toolbar out here. Now, if you go to any of the standard SketchUp toolbars, you can click down a tool and drag it from that toolbar to this one. If you hold down your control key, it will make a copy of it. So I can start making my own toolbar, and I can drag stuff from other toolbars up here. Now the thing you'll notice, this toolbar here is a third-party layers toolbar. I am unable to drag that. I haven't found any third-party programs now that will allow you to drag stuff from their toolbar to your custom toolbar, and that's unfortunate. I need to figure out if there's a way around that, because I'd like to create a custom toolbar for myself that has all the important tools that that I use in it, along with the third-party ones. And I'm going to be working on that in the future, see if there's anything I can do to find that. But you can, like I say, you can drag whatever you want out here, create your own toolbar, and then put it up here and dock the toolbar. You know, we can shut it off, or we can delete it, do whatever we want with it. So anyhow, you might consider making custom toolbars, get rid of any functions that that you don't need, so you just have the important stuff there. Anyway, this Rich with WorkshopAddict.com, and that's it for tutorial number 10.